What should brand new white belts in Jiu-Jitsu actually work on? Let's talk about it. So we have, I know what you're thinking. You're brand new, and maybe it's been a week, maybe it's been a few months, maybe it's even been a year. And I think if it's been a year, I need a special video for you. And you're a brand new white belt, but you're wondering, what exactly should you work on with Jiu-Jitsu? You got past the hard part of getting to the gym. Now you're here, but you literally don't know what you're doing. So I'm going to help you out. First off, there's a couple of things. It depends on the skill level, but this is for people who I want to say are 7 months under, with like the max cap should be 7 months. And if you're 7 months to a year and you still don't know what you're doing, this is also for you as well. I would say, so this I just want you guys to keep in mind, that's going to be the level of intelligence in terms of the art, not your actual full intelligence, but intelligence of the art. I'm going to try to help you out from that standpoint. So you're in the gym, you're getting smashed, you just don't know what to do. You're like, okay, I like it, I'm having fun, I'm trying to get submissions here, I'm kind of getting this. It's just frustrating. You're going home, and I don't know, maybe if you're a very competitive person like I was when I was a white belt, I actually sometimes went home very, very pissed off. So yeah, it's normal. It's natural. It's natural to be angry. They say Jiu-Jitsu humbles you, but we want you to be humbled in the right way, not a very frustrating way. So it really depends. I believe everybody's problem, it's a range of things. So we're going to try to break it down. Number one, we're going to talk about just the knowledge intelligence. Maybe I might switch that to the beginning. By the way, as I explain this, go ahead, type away your problems, and maybe when I read it, I'll be able to make a whole new video specifically revolving directly around that problem. But we're just going to talk about right now the intelligence situation, the knowledge base. You need to understand, I know a lot of martial arts say that Jiu-Jitsu, or no, they say that their martial art is like chess. This is like, it's what they say, it's chess, not checkers. Like everyone says that. But I want you to understand that Jiu-Jitsu really is a chess martial art. It's like a chess-like martial art. You need to understand that some of the people that you might be losing to, you feel that they're weaker than you, they actually just know more than you. That's really what it is. So I'm going to help you speed fast what exactly you should be looking for. So if we're talking about just knowledge base, because I think once we get past knowledge base, there is a physicality base, like strength, cardio, flexibility. We're going to talk about that. What else? There's no, I think that's really the only two: strength, cardio, flexibility, and basically knowledge, and your mentality. That's another big one. And maybe also like protecting your body, like understanding how to deal with injuries or prevent injuries if you haven't had one. If you're under 7 months and you haven't had like a major injury, good, you're doing it correctly. But I believe every jiu-jitsu athlete is bound for an injury. So hopefully I remember this stuff, because I'll be one taking this stuff. But let's go back to the knowledge base. So you're trying to figure out, you don't quite know what to work on. Like you're in these these like, you're doing all the techniques, you're doing the drills, but you just don't know what to do. You're grabbing for things and you're just like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Maybe you almost had a submission. The best way I can explain it is you just need to know what you're going for. That's it. If I promise you that I could get me a day one white belt, and if I showed them exactly what they're going for, I bet you they could get a submission that same session. It's a knowledge thing. It's not that, you have to grow into something. It's just, excuse me, I'm burping and stuff. It's just knowing what to do. So let me help you guys out. Number one, you have positions in Jiu-Jitsu. Okay? There's like, I believe there's really like 3 basic types of positions. You have closed guard, and I'm assuming that you have an idea of it. But if you don't, it doesn't matter. Trust me, I got you. I got you. You got closed guard, you have half guard, and you have open guard. There's two types of open guards. There's two types. I'm not going to go into it. We're not going to have no flashy editing. I need you to think about it because Jiu-Jitsu is a thinking man's martial art. If you don't know what closed guard is, if you don't know what half guard is, and you don't know what open guard is, go to your gym, ask, or search online. But what I want you to do is I want you to use your mind. It's a conceptual thing. People don't understand that part. They just want to go look at it, but they don't conceptually understand what's going on. So for the most part, usually what gyms teach you is they talk about closed guard. Typically, just to help you guys out, closed guard actually is very advanced. I know that's the first thing that you'll probably learn if you don't know what closed guard is. Remember, we're imagining things. It's when both of your legs is wrapped around the person. Sorry if this makes you uncomfortable. It's like missionary. It literally looks like that. So closed guard is actually very advanced. I know that's like one of the first things that they show you. They'll put you in closed guard, and then I said missionary. I'm sorry. Smitty be on some crazy stuff. It just finally hit me, the stuff I be saying. But they'll put you in closed guard, and then they'll teach you how to do an arm bar. They'll teach you how to do a triangle from there. And then when you start sparring, you get on your back, you put someone in closed guard, and you're struggling to submit them from there. That's because the position of closed guard is very complicated, okay? So you might be spending so much time on closed guard, not even realize that's a really advanced topic. That's like, the best way I can explain it is closed guard is kind of like the calculus of jiu-jitsu in a way. It's kind of like, not like each position has an arithmetic, right? Like a 1 + 1, 2 + 2. But the degree, once people know what it is of making it effective, it increases. Okay, so closed guard is very difficult. I would suggest you find out what half guard is. Okay, half guard is probably one of the best versions you can use because there's sweeps there's submissions there, and there's a bunch of stuff from half guard. Mind you, I know some people are still probably confused. They're like, Smitty, it's 7 minutes and I still ain't learned nothing. Just follow me. We're talking about positional based jiu-jitsu. The problem is you think in your mind that you don't know what's going on or you don't get it, but it's really just positions. It's all positions. Once you understand the positions and what each position is for and what each position does, then you could be able to get more success. So let's get back to it. Closed guard is an advanced one. I know they probably typically would have showed you that in your first day because it can, like, visually it's easy to get, but it's actually advanced. So when you go into the gym and you are in a position, ask them, is this closed guard? If you don't know what closed guard is this half guard? Is this open guard? You need to know what position you're in, because once you know the position that you're in, there's a specific thing that you're trying to get out of that position. This is just knowledge base, but I hope you get what I'm telling you. Closed guard, pretty advanced, but still work on it. Half guard is really mainly made for sweeps. There's a lot of sweeps. You're on the bottom, this is you're right here, person's on top. If you're in half guard, it's mainly to flip the position. Don't try to get a guillotine and submit them. You need to understand the position that you're in, okay? They say in jiu-jitsu, position before submission. They say that all the time. I'm helping you guys out to kind of visually know what you're going for. If you're in open guard, you heard me say that there's two types of open guards, right? So you have seated guard, where basically imagine the person standing like this and you're sitting on your butt. Without you touching them, this right here is seated guard. Now imagine you're under them, right? And you're elevating them in the air, and you got all the leg locks and stuff. That right there typically is called supinated or supine guard. Those are two different types of open guards. Now open guard is complicated visually, it's advanced visually, but a lot of people, and especially in the current meta of jiu-jitsu, that's typically the positions that you play. That's the infamous butt scooting, or a lot of the leg locks that you see comes from supine guard, okay? So when you understand that there's really 3 types of positions and they have a specific thing that they're doing. Now I'm not saying, let's say you're in half guard, and I told you half guard is for sweeping people, right? You can still submit people from half guard. I got all of my triangle chokes typically when I first started from half guard. You know, I would just, it's hard to explain. I would turn half guard into an open guard, and now I'm getting ahead of myself. Just understand that Smitty said closed guard is good. You want to practice it, but it's very hard to submit people that are of a higher range. Half guard, you really want to work on your half guard. It's really good for sweeps. If you decide to ever go to MMA or you want to do MMA, there you go. I think half guard is good. So I probably should have made this section at the end, but I just gave you guys just a plethora of game when it comes to knowledge. Now also, after this is something like maybe a classical style of jiu-jitsu would like you to understand, but for me, now this is where I get down. That whole tangent I just explained, that's what typical high-level black belts or classical Brazilian jiu-jitsu gentlemen would teach you. The way I would teach you is I would teach you about the submissions. I believe this right here, if you made it this far in the video, now I'm going to give you the actual truth of how I believe that I could get someone in the first session to get a submission or just get straight to the point where they know what they're going for. I believe the submissions are the knockout punches of jiu-jitsu, and visually everyone, including the crowd, the reason why you probably got into jiu-jitsu was because you understood a submission. You understood a choke. Everyone understands a choke. They don't understand the positions. If you're a brand new white belt, all you need to understand is that there's 6 families of submissions. I know that sounds very, very complicated, but if you remember that there's 6 families of submissions, and you pick a family of a submission to stick with during your white belt reign, you will have a lot more success than the white belt who is just running around jumping through submissions. So like, for example, typically what a lot of white belts understand, what I understood was a guillotine. Most white belts understand guillotines, right? So they're trying to go for a guillotine, and maybe in class they learned about a triangle, and then they're trying to choke this person. The person comes up and they try to throw a triangle. In that white belt's head, he was going for a submission, right? Wrong. He went for he jumped across submission families. For guillotines, there's like 6-7 different ways of configuring the guillotine, and you have to get good at specializing in that. Now, because the guillotine failed, you failed in the guillotine family of submissions. Now you threw up a triangle choke. You went into the triangle family of submissions. Don't worry if you don't know what I'm talking about. You just need to follow what I'm telling you. You don't suck at submissions. You suck at not being able to recognize the family that you just attempted. That's the problem, okay? People don't get that part. They're like, oh, I'm not a good submission artist. No, you don't know what family you're trying to go. So the families, just to let you guys know, I'm not going to break them down or whatever, but just to let you know, you have rear naked choke. The rear naked choke, when you're behind someone and choke them out, that is a whole, not only is the rear naked choke a submission, but it's a position as well. Okay, so if you get someone's back and you're trying to choke them out and stuff and you fail, it doesn't matter. You got reps on that. Okay, so you have to get better at the family of being behind someone's back. Then you have leg locks. Leg locks, there's an entire family of leg locks and positions and stuff that you have to learn. Okay, the triangle choke. There's like 5 different types of triangle chokes, okay? Then you have guillotines, you have arm bars, you have kimuras. So, when you go to the gym, if you're a brand new white belt, in my opinion, I believe you should focus on a submission that you visually like. Maybe you feel like you get there all the time. And learn that submission, and then turn around and learn when that submission fails, what does that lead to? For example, let's say you're going for someone's legs, right? Your butt scooting towards their legs, and you try to get their legs. They put their legs back, now their head comes forward. Now you grab the head and you're going for a guillotine. You need to understand what connects into what. And that's a lot of people don't understand that part. That's the checkmate version. You're not playing to win by the clock. You're playing to win by checkmate, okay? It's a thinking man's sport. That's why I say you don't need to visually see. You just need to hear what I'm telling you, okay? So the knowledge base of jiu-jitsu, that's one thing. But now let's talk about, let's say for example, you strength, endurance, flexibility. Like, what about that? You know, how do you get better at that? That's a whole nother video topic in itself. But like, should you go to the gym for jiu-jitsu, for example? I do believe you should go to the gym for jiu-jitsu. Should you jump rope or do some type of cardio? Should you go running for jiu-jitsu? I do believe you should go running for jiu-jitsu. Should you do some like it? But the problem with that is the more you do, it does take away from the building process of getting better at jiu-jitsu. So let's say, for example, you feel like you're not strong enough on the mat, right? So you go lifting weights. Maybe your legs aren't strong enough and you start squatting. Now, the things that you did in squats is going to affect you in your jiu-jitsu. Some people don't really understand that part, but I just had to kind of explain that's usually typically what happens. Now, so that's another thing. So we will probably make another video because I'm already like 16 minutes in about... I just gave you guys the biggest knowledge-based just gold mine. Understand jiu-jitsu is a thinking man's art. A lot of people that I've beaten, they actually were better than me, but I just was slicker, or I was able to game the system a little bit better than them. What else do you have? You have cardio. How do you get better at cardio? We'll probably actually have to talk about that in another jiu-jitsu video because I feel like I'm going on a tangent and I've lost the plot. I hope that actually helped you out what you should work on as a white belt. If we're talking about extracurricular activities such as things outside of the mat, we'll make another video about that. But what I could tell you is what you also should focus on before you guys leave is being the last one on the mat. I remember I'll tell you a quick story. I remember when I was a white belt, when I first started off, I used to do like 1 or 2 rolls, 3 rolls, and then I thought that was enough, and I left. That's what I thought. I thought that was the game. I thought that I was cool. I did enough and left. But then I remember I was walking out, and my coach, Scott Epstein, no, it actually wasn't Scott Epstein, but no, it was Scott Epstein. It was Scott Epstein. He was the one who conceptually gave me the idea, but it was my old gi coach. I used to just naturally do it. My old gi coach used to just force me to be the last person on the mat. But my no-gi 10th plan coach, Scott Epstein, conceptually gave me the idea. I was like, yeah, you know, I'm about to go. He said, you should be the last one on the mat. How the fuck you expect to get better? And I was just like, oh my God, you know what? You are absolutely right. So then from that day forward, I was the last person on the mat. Now, the problem though, when you decide to be the last person on the mat is you are prone for injuries more. We will talk about actually all the stuff that I said I was going to talk about in this video. We'll talk about that in another video. Just type it away of what you would like to hear. But my best advice as a white belt, if maybe you made it this far and you still don't get it, you're still confused, you still don't understand it, and you're still looking for answers, be the last person on the mat. Honestly, that is the safest, easiest, just most effective way to get better, to be honest with you. Being the last person on the mat, constantly, you can ask a lot of questions. I think asking a lot of questions is good, but then this is what I'm going to make this channel about, to answer these questions. So please type away the questions that you have. But I believe jiu-jitsu is a thinking man's martial art, and when you conceptually get what's going on, your percentages, you just get better, you know, in general. But I'm yapping. Be the last person on the mat if you don't know what you're doing, and then eventually it's going to catch on with you. You're going to start seeing patterns, because that's all this martial art is. I play a lot of speed chess. I play a lot of chess, actually. And over time, as you play a lot of online chess, you start seeing, like, you would have fell for certain things, and then you start recognizing, like, oh, okay, I seen someone do that like 50 games ago. I'm tired of that shit. We're stopping that right now. You know, that's kind of jiu-jitsu too. And the funny thing about jiu-jitsu is you learn through pain. So chess, you could probably make the same mistake 100 times, but jiu-jitsu, someone did some little silly stuff like 3 times, you tired of that. You like, all right, I'm done. That's something I tend to do when I, like brand new white belts, I'll come in, I'll do the same sequence over and over and over and over again, until they figure it out, like, you know what, I'm tired of you doing that. then they start recognizing exactly what I'm doing. One thing I can say for certain is typically I harassed every single white belt in my gym with a triangle choke that now they visually know how to dodge a triangle choke. So, you know, everything in Jiu-Jitsu is patterns. We're going to talk about other stuff. Maybe like just type away specifically about strength, flexibility, endurance questions you have. Type away specifically. I think my next video I might talk about injuries. I don't know, but just type away what you would like to talk about, because I realize I need to go a little bit more in depth with the specifics of those questions, but I can leave the knowledge base part with you. You need to understand, like, a lot of people, the problem with a lot of people in jiu-jitsu too, of why they don't get better, is they just don't understand that you have to conceptually get things too. Everyone just wants to see it, but you have to talk about it too. You need to visually, in the mind's eye, understand what you're doing. But people don't want to do that. They want shiny, cool techniques. They want flashy stuff. They don't want to learn the basics. But, you know, we'll talk about that another time. You guys take care.